Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's fail blog. So, this one was in my Modern Horizons pre release draft. I had a bunch of creatures out. I was going against a guy who wanted to go mill, but then didn't get quite the necessary cards to go mill, and so it kind of just became a control um, flyers kind of deck with lots of removal. He had like the snow enchantment that taps your creature. He had the white enchantment that makes it a 0/1, which, by the way, with Altar of Dementia out is nice because if he ever casts that, I can just sack the creature in response and the creature that he's targeting in response, and then get the value from that, and then he doesn't really get anything. But anyways, I had a board that looked something like this. He didn't really have much. And so I went ahead and, I don't know, I attacked with I think I attacked with everything. So I go to attack with everything, and I want to say it was at this point he cast Settle Beyond Reality. But if he did, that was really a mistake because that's a sorcery. So I think he might have done it on his next turn, where he said, okay, I'm going to exile. I think he exiled the Ward-Eye Witch. So that's gone. And then he said, I'm going to exile the Undead Augur, and then it returns to the battlefield under your next turn's control. Well, if you've read that card, you already know that this is a mistake. And I didn't realize it at the time either. It wasn't until actually after the pre-release that I got a chance to read the card again. But it says, exile target creature you don't control, and then the second mode is exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. So he made an illegal play by telling me that I needed to exile my Undead Augur and then bring it back. But this one was just all sorts of messed up because he said bring it back at the end of turn, and that's not what it says either. I mean, I like to believe that he just didn't read the card that closely and made an honest mistake, but this was like game 3, really crucial combat steps, where he was close to dying, he was close to being milled out from Altar of Dementia, and he exiled this. Well, here's the kicker now. Exiled it, okay, comes back end of turn, whatever. I put it to the side, and then I forgot to bring it back at the end of turn, and he forgot to bring it back at the end of turn. And at the end of the game, it was like 2 or 3 turns later, the game ended, and he beat me. And I was like, yeah, you got me, good game. And then I was like, wait, I never returned the Undead Augur. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that too. So like I said, I really hope that it was an honest mistake. But probably what I should have done is I should have called for a judge. Because, like I said, the game was so close that being able to attack with the Augur or sacrifice it to Altar of Dementia to draw a card or something could have really swung the game out in my favor. I was holding First Sphere Gargantua in my hand, which would have been a monster 10 cards off of his library if I sacrificed it and unearthed it. Not to mention I draw a card from when it enters the battlefield, and because I didn't have the board state that I thought I would, I made some different plays to try and stem the bleeding and counter what he was doing. So like there was a lot that could have happened. It was so close, and one of the other players told me that since it was his spell that exiled my creature, he was responsible for telling me that it comes back. It's his effect, it's his triggered ability, and it's his responsibility to do that. So I should have called the judge. At the time I just said, we're here at pre-release, we're having fun, like, don't worry about it. It was so close anyways. Good game. But then I went on to win my next 2 rounds. And so it's like, man, I could have gone 3-0. I don't know. These are all the ifs and buts and everything that you sometimes get with Magic. So yeah, but the lesson is really read the cards, because he did an illegal play where he exiled my creature and then told me to bring it back at end of turn when in fact he could only exile his creature and it comes back right away. Okay, so like those blink effects work in a bunch of different ways. Some of them do come back at end of turn. Some of them, it doesn't matter if you control or your opponent controls it. So that's why it all checked out to me when we did it. But then also, if your opponent misses a trigger that affects one of your creatures and you notice it like a turn or two later, go ahead and call a judge, because I was telling this story to my next opponent and they said, oh yeah, you should have definitely called a judge over, because that was his effect on your creature that he didn't tell you to bring it back. Of course, it's also a little bit on me to remember that, but when you get down to brass tacks, if it's your opponent's effect, it is their responsibility. So hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed the story, and have fun out there. We'll talk to you later.